Alright everyone, today let's talk about how to craft amulets. And I think the best way to tell you is to show you, so let's make some of our own. Now there is a long history of amulets in Abrahamic magic, and in fact this book right here goes into how early Christians used them as well. But I gotta say, between Jewish amulets, Christian amulets, some of which are even recognizable in modern day, and even Islamic amulets which have pieces of the Quran inside, there has always been a wearable element to our protective magic. You can see here in that book how they were thought to safeguard against disease and protect people, but there's more ways to use it than just protection. Honestly, they can do just about anything depending on the symbolism already in the amulet. Let me show you a few examples with the jewelry I have in my own box. So here are a few separate pendants, some of which I have charmed, some of which I haven't. They can take many different forms, colors, shapes. They can be either something you wear around your neck, as a ring, even a hat if you really wanted, but it all depends on what you want to do. So like for instance, this ring, I actually got this as a protection ring because it looks like a tower shield. It is massive, chunky, and I don't know what kind of stone that is, but that wasn't really important. What was important was all these details and the weight of it, just like the girth of this thing. Another was actually this pendant right here, which specifically I got because it was onyx. I got this as a way to kind of suck up any negative energy. If I was anxious going into a place, if a place just had bad energy, this would suck it up. You do have to cleanse it regularly though, because it is going to just hold on to a lot of icky energy otherwise. But for someone who gets pretty anxious in new places, this is a really powerful charm for those kinds of things. Another thing you can do is get amulets that already have certain symbolisms embedded in it. For instance, this bee pendant, if you wanted to bless this with, granting some productivity or even protection with the bee's sting, you could definitely do that. The bee itself as an animal is a really interesting spirit, and by, casting that symbolism into this, you can carry some pretty good energy throughout your day. This is one of my favorite amulets, actually. Now this one is just regular jewelry. This was actually a gift, but it does have a piece of abalone shell in it, which, depending on what you want to do with that, could do a lot of different things. I just use it as regular jewelry again, but, in the future, maybe it could be something, because it's really big and really obvious. But for beginners, and especially people who can't be outward with their magic, I suggest using a locket. Not only do they have really inconspicuous shapes that you can use, they also have an inside pocket that can hide the actual magic. No one has to know that you're doing magic when you're using a locket for your amulet. They're discreet and they can take many different forms, and I actually have this one here from my Oma. After she passed, I got some of her jewelry, and one of them was this locket, which actually had pictures of me as a child inside, and I thought that was sweet. I didn't want to take them out or anything, so I think this will actually be a really good one for some inner child spell work. It's real silver, it's big, it's pretty, and honestly, I'd never really had any stock in inner child magic. I didn't think I needed it. I didn't think, inner child work was important. But the phrase all work no play makes Jack a dull boy exists for a reason. I want to get back some of the fun and the hobbies that I used to like to do and all that stuff in my life because I've been buried under a lot of work and I just want to get a more playful approach to things. Another issue that one of these amulets can solve is that when I get anxious and frustrated, I can get pretty snappy, and I would like to remind myself to get, into a softer, more merciful spirit. And frankly, there's nothing better for that than an actual heart-shaped little amulet like this one. So that is my thought process behind these two amulets we're making today. Now we are using sigils, and I'll tag our old sigil discussion down below, but my advice with sigils really is do not show them to people. I know Witch Talks had a lot of discussion about what you show and what you don't, but I really do suggest that you don't show sigils because those things are things that really should only be in your mind, and when they're only in your mind, they're a lot more powerful. But let's get started. So for our softened heart, we have all of these materials right here, and then for our inner child, we have all of these on the other side. These ones gave me more Easter feel, and just the gems themselves have to do with, sunshine, peace, and on the other hand, we have all these that have to do with healing and passion and vigor. And yes, you did read that right. We got some baby teeth, which are actually my baby teeth. I don't know why my mom kept these, but she did, and frankly, they're pretty good for an inner child spell. And then, of course, some lavender for the peace spell, pretty common. But as we are Christians, we can also use some Bible verses. My verses of choice are John 14:27 for the peace of heart, and then for the inner child is Matthew 18:3-5. Incorporating Bible verses into your spell work only helps, honestly. But now take your favorite cleansing tool and get everything nice and cleansed up. I really like this homegrown rosemary that I got. But just pass all these things through the smoke, make sure that they get a good soak with all that smoke for a little while. Cleanse any bottles you might have, even cleanse the inside of the actual lockets themselves. This is going to help just reset any materials that you have. Then making your sigils really easy, just grab a pen and paper and do whatever you like. And then here we go. We got one for the heart locket, one for the bigger locket, and now it's time to get them all blessed and ready to go. I have just one piece of tooth and a few pieces of lavender here, and now I'm setting up all the things around it. And the lockets aren't the main thing that we're going to start with, that's why they're on the outside. The main thing we're blessing right now is the sigil and the stuff that's going inside it. But now your invocation is up to you. It is entirely personalized to however you like to invoke, and of course you can also write the Bible verses on the back of your sigil too. But say what you gotta say, channel what you gotta channel, and once that's all done, it's as simple as folding up your pieces of paper and getting all of your ingredients inside your locket. Once everything's all tucked up inside nicely, just make sure you close it really carefully so you don't accidentally crush anything. And then I'm actually going to set these things up around it so that these are surrounded by the influencing gemstones. Now we just leave it like that for a little while and let them charge up. But now you know how to craft your own amulet, and you've got 2 examples of ways you can do it yourself. So I hope that helps you guys when you make your own amulets, and I will see you guys next week for another spell demo. See you next week. By the way, if you want to see these videos 2 weeks earlier, consider subscribing to my Patreon, where you not only get all these videos, but also recipe cards, specific deity profiles, and lots of other interesting things to look at. Video tiers start at $10 a month, so definitely consider checking it out.